Ahoy mortals, it is I, InsanelyADD. I am here today with an actual speed paint of an actual digital painting for once, so that's fun and neat. How new and unexpected. But something else that's new and unexpected, I'm not actually going to talk that much about the painting, except to say it is a digital painting that I made because I wanted to work on painting again for digital. I traditionally paint all the time, but I'm not very good with digital painting in my own opinion. So I wanted to try it again, work on lighting effects, specifically with the cape and how it glows and lets the light through and changes the color of the light as it passes through. And it's a picture of Papyrus and myself insert, who I always draw smooching him because I love Papyrus. And that serves as the basis for the rant that I'm about to unleash upon you. So if you don't want to hear that, I'm going to try not to be mean about it. I do have a little script written out. But I don't want to sound mean. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. It's just I'm so tired of Papyrus being treated poorly by the fandom, you know? It gets to a point where it's just you can't find a single goddamn thing that doesn't write him like an idiot and insults his character repeatedly over and over. It just becomes an endless cycle of hell. But anyways, my intention isn't to be mean to people who like him being written like a brain-dead 4-year-old. And it isn't to be mean to people who like Sans, because I do crap on Sans a little bit whenever I'm ranting about Papyrus being treated poorly, because so often Papyrus is just treated like a fucking background accessory for Sans. Oh, you want Sans to be sad? Kill Papyrus! Cool, I just love my favorite character being dead 90% of the time. It's the best! That was sarcasm. Anyways. So, I love Papyrus. I relate to him so much. Personally, I feel like he probably has ADHD, and a lot of my friends agree that he could have ADHD or be autistic. Either one is totally valid because they have a lot of overlap in their, presentation and stuff. So, yeah, I relate to Papyrus a lot, and I respect him, and because he's so put together, you know? I admire him and I look up to him and I want to be like him in the sense that he's an adult who has his life pretty well figured out. He's working towards his dreams and goals. And I just want to be like him, working actively towards my goals that I have set for myself and being optimistic and not reacting with violence when something is annoying you or bothering you. Yeah, sure, maybe a little mock anger or something, but not I'm gonna fucking skin you alive or anything like that, I do. But yeah, so I really love Papyrus. He's great. He's my comfort character. And now, so when I see him written like an utter fool, like a lobotomized preschooler, it feels personal. What a wild coincidence it is that everyone I know who is autistic or who has ADHD or both heavily relates to Papyrus and fucking hates it when he's treated like a kid or an idiot. I get treated like a kid and an idiot very often because of my interest in cartoons, art, video games, etc. And also because I look 16 and I'm actually 23. It fills me with rabid frustration, and because I am also bipolar with mood-congruent psychotic episodes, it makes me want to be violent. I don't want to be violent. I'm trying to move past that, but it's difficult when it's just a thing that you've done for so long. So, also, it's super easy to tell when someone doesn't take you seriously or value your intelligence because they don't even try to hide it, because, as I previously established, they neither take you seriously nor believe you are intelligent enough to realize you are being mocked. So, to see this cycle that I am so familiar with on an endless loop in fanworks, targeted at Papyrus, pisses me off. No one ever takes me seriously until I have a mental breakdown and get violent. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be that way at all. Not for me, not for Papyrus. Papyrus shouldn't have to murder Frisk to be taken seriously by the fandom. Everyone looks at him in the general run is oh, what a dumbass. What a sweet, innocent little cinnamon roll. He's sparing the human. And it's a lot of people do quit the run right there. because they feel so bad about killing him, or about the thought of killing him, that they give up. And he's like the only character, except for, I think, maybe Mettaton, because Mettaton also can't really fight you. Spoilers. But, he's like the only character in the run for the game that can do that. The rest of the characters are like, oh, I just couldn't beat them. Their fight is too difficult. And I think that really speaks to the power Papyrus has in the emotions that he can elicit in people. That he is such a lovable and enjoyable character that killing him makes people stop, even if they were super psyched to fight Sans or Undyne, you know? So, I despise the way I can't say that Papyrus is a sweetheart, or a goofball, or sometimes a doofus, without the worry that every fool in the fandom will nod along because their own mental image of Papyrus includes him sucking his thumb and being unable to function without Sans protecting him from the true horrors of the world. By the way, my younger sister tried to protect me like that once, and all it did was put me in more danger and piss me off. I was so fucking angry with her when I found out about it. Like, borderline, cut her out of my life, don't even talk to her again, angry with her. To focus my argument more clearly, I read a lot of reader inserts, and as of late, there's been a lot of Sans and not a lot of Papyrus in the Papyrus X reader section. So, it's like being invited to a lobster buffet dinner. Lobster's good, plenty of people like it, it's really expensive, it's considered a high quality food even though it's basically like a fucking centipede from the bottom of the ocean floor. And that's nice and all, but they invite me there and are like, we know you're allergic to lobster, because I'm allergic to shellfish. So we have a little side meal for you. It is a serving of fries, a single serving of fries at a buffet dinner. And the fries are burnt and soggy at the same time somehow. And I know Papyrus would hate being compared to fries, but I love fries, okay? When the fries are bad, it's rarely the fries' fault. It's more the fault of the person who cooked them. Also, to briefly touch on this, Papyrus being headcanoned as asexual is so valid. He has no canon sexual orientation, by the way, people out there who are rabid one way or the other, because apparently there's like a mini war in the fandom about whether or not Papyrus is canonically MLM, not multi-level marketing, or asexual. Personally, as someone who's a huge fan of Papyrus, he could be read either way. I'm asexual and panromantic. I headcanon Papyrus as pansexual, 100%, not asexual at all, and that's just my personal headcanon. I don't think there's really any evidence that leans him too far in either direction, but anyways. Papyrus being headcanoned as asexual is so valid. I'm asexual myself, but in reader inserts, specifically in reverse harem fics, I'm tired of it, because it is used as an excuse by the author to sanitize and dumb down the romance between the reader and Papyrus, which is insulting on the levels of me being a Papyrus fan who wants to smooch him, me being an asexual person who wants to smooch him, and also that my sexual orientation is being used to further the infantilization of him. Because, you know, that's a thing that's associated with asexuality, that it's childish and innocent. And like, fuck you. At that point, if you're going to focus on Sans and barely elaborate on the Papyrus aspect of the romance in the story in any way, why even make him a romantic interest? You so badly want Sans to be the only one smooching the reader, why not just write it that way and stop clogging my favorite tag? So yeah, back to the main topic. If the reader insert immediately upon meeting Papyrus thinks, oh how sweet and innocent he is, or compares him to a child in any fashion, when the poor man has only said one sentence, and then Papyrus goes on to not challenge these condescending first impressions by not being able to solve a Rubik's Cube even though he's great at puzzles, making him talk like an idiot even though he knows a lot of big words and literary references and uses words and phrases like do a violence for comedic effect. I want you, the viewer, to be reassured that I will fight the author in the burnt-out husk of an Arby's and kick them into the sun. I will psychically reach out to them wherever their heretical body may lie so I can inflict upon them the horrors of my nightmares where I bleed hair. The astral projection of my rage will make sure every sock they wear until the day they die is wet for no discernible reason. Every person on the face of this wretched earth who has ever sought to defy me by writing or characterizing Papyrus poorly shall one day lay down at my feet and weep for their suffering to end, and I will merely watch coldly from upon my perch of chiseled 7.5-foot tall papyrus statues. But I'm not bitter or anything. I just want Papyrus to be written better. I try so hard whenever I'm writing comics or something, where, whenever any character is involved, even though I personally dislike a couple characters, I don't think Toriel's that great. I don't like Asgore that much either, but, it's the same level from both of them. I'm not picking favorites here, and I'm not getting into it. So don't get into it, or I'll delete your comments. And I really don't like Mettaton at all. I just dislike him deeply. And, Alphys gets more shit than Mettaton, because Alphys lied to you. Mettaton tried to murder you on live television and abandon all his fans, and then also doom monster kind to who knows how much longer in the underground because he wanted to take your soul. He's kind of a bigger dick than Alphys is for lying to you because she was lonely and just wanted a friend. Come on, guys. Jesus Christ. But, that's off topic. I like Papyrus. And I feel because whenever I try to write any character, be it Mettaton, who I really don't like, or Toriel and Asgore, who I'm pretty neutral on, honestly, and just meh, I try to write them accurately, because the only way to write them in a way that does not make any fan feel like I alienated them is to write them as close to canon as possible. I mean, I'm definitely going to alienate the Sans fans, because so many of them are, stuck in an alternate universe where Sans is a god and the main character of Undertale or something. But, the sane ones will appreciate my efforts to capture how he actually is. So, I always try to write canonically and stick to canon when it comes to the characterizations of other characters, because I know that every character is someone else's favorite character. And sticking true to how they are in canon is the easiest, best, most efficient way of making sure that any fan who happens to see a comic or a fanfic that I've written comes away with it with a positive experience of their character. Because I am endlessly frustrated by people mischaracterizing my favorite character. Not even in Undertale, just my favorite character, period. Papyrus is great. And I'm so tired of him being so poorly treated over and over again. An endless loop of just him being treated like a child, not sticking up for himself, and then no one ever learning anything. And it's just, that's how it is in real life, and it sucks. It's shitty when people treat you like you're an idiot, or that you don't know what's going on, or like a kid, And it aggravates me to no end to see the character that I relate to so much, because I'm so much like him, but I personally feel like he's even more put together than I am. I am a fucking mess. He is an actually functioning adult with a job, and if you argue that Papyrus doesn't have a job, I will kill you. I will kill you, gut you, wear your skin, and parade around the town while screaming. Anyways, Papyrus has a job, and I think that's really cool, and I wish I could get a job, but no, I'm just a huge fucking mess. So, Papyrus is who I aspire to be. But there's people out here basically writing him like he's never progressed mentally beyond the age of 3. Even 3-year-olds will say fuck if they overhear it once. Oh, and by the way, Sans totally taught Papyrus every single swear word he knew on Papyrus' 13th birthday. I will die on this hill. As an older sibling, that is your duty. Your duty is to teach your little sibling how to say fuck. And when to say fuck. For maximum comedic potential. Just imagine it. They're out at the market, and Papyrus is like, Sans, I want this fucking candy bar. And then Sans just loses it. As was planned in the prophecy, as was foretold. Because that's just what older siblings do. They're total assholes. I can say this with utter confidence as an eldest sibling of 4. So yeah, Sans isn't an overprotective dick. Papyrus is a functioning adult who should be treated as such. But yeah, I drew this picture because I love Papyrus, and I made this rant because I love Papyrus. And I'm hoping it'll reach people out there who feel the same way that I do, or it'll change someone's mind, and they'll think more about how they write Papyrus, because as is, it's just not great. But yeah, that's all. Thanks for coming to my video. Bye.